Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open a file. I'm going to choose this lady here. Now this is not going to be anything special, it's just to show you how I work with light. Now I want to make a square format, so I'm going to create this width and height 5000 pixels. I'm going to change the DPI to 360 for printing. And I'm going to make the color of the new image black. So it's telling me here that I'm creating a large image and I'm saying, yeah, go ahead. Okay, so the lady is here, so I'm going to copy her, edit, copy, and then I click on the larger image and paste. Simple as that. I'm just going to move her down till I have her in a position that I'm happy with. And now I'm going to anchor it down so the two images are locked together. I'm choosing a medium-sized fuzzy brush. I'm going to increase the size here. Now I'm going to click Control and then the color picker comes up and then I can start to paint. I'm just going to use it really for the center, and the sides, which I intend having as darker, I will just use the smudge tool, bring it down a bit there. Just blending it in. I just picked up on the darker colour and I'm just painting over it. Because sometimes when you smudge too much you get those little vertical lines. There we go. I'll paint along the side here. Just picking up some colour. Okay, so I'm going to create that new layer. It's black now, and there we go. I'm going to change the mode. So I'm going to bring it down to multiply. And then I'm going to decrease the opacity. Now I'm going to try overlay. It's good to try a few different things. I mean, each time you do it, it's not the same. Okay, I'm just going to make a copy, like I always do at some stage, of the image, because if anything goes wrong or I delete it by accident, it's just really difficult to go all the way back over it all over again. So I've gone back now to the picture of the lady there, and I'm going to add a layer mask. Sorry, I put it onto her, but I should have put it up onto the black layer. So I'm going to add a layer mask, a white one here, because when I paint on it in with a black on top of the white layer, it will show through the light. Now that's you click that to return it to this normal size, and I'm going to start erasing. I'm going to use the brush instead of the airspray. Now I went over the edge a bit there, so I'm just going to paint it back in. Okay, so when you have a white mask, you paint black on top of it, so it makes a hole through the black layer that I put on top. Okay, there we go. Now you can really see the difference there. See? That's very obvious. That's better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, that's a little bit too strong there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just erase the black layer exactly where the light is already shining on her, so it doesn't make it look really obvious there. Just going to follow the light. There we go. I'm not going to go near the darker areas. I'm going to decrease the size of my brush, and just the light is just hitting the top of her shoe there, so I'm just going to do her knee also. There we go. I'm just going to use the airbrush to just soften it up a bit. Now, I think that's just fine. Just up the opacity. There we go. That's looking good. Now you can really see the contrast between the dark and the light. So her arm and her dress and her leg and the side of the hat, I have made a hole through the layer mask, and now they're shining through. I'm just going around the edges where I went over the edge. Okay, so you can see the difference now. Now, if I had a brown background, I would put a brown layer over it, but because I've got a black background, I put a black layer over it. So I'm going to bring some light in. I'm going to use this brush here. I'm going to increase the size of it. Now it's pointing in the wrong direction, so I'm going down to the angle. There, I've changed the angle. Okay, just trying to make it bigger. Now, actually, I can't paint on it because the layer is there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge the layer mask down, because unless it's merged, you can't obviously paint on top of the mask. Okay, so I've put the opacity down a bit and I've increased the size, and I'm going to have the light just shine in from that angle. I wasn't happy with that now, so I've made it a bit bigger. There we go, that's better. Now, it's a little bit boring, so I'm just going to just mess around with it a little bit. So you'll be seeing how I work the shadows in different areas as well. Right, so I've put sorry, that's the wrong tool there. I've put this I'm just erasing it. Okay, just like that. Now, as we move in closer here, you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it look like you can see there. I'm just making that around the same size, and I'm going to colour it red. Okay, there we go. And so on the left hand side there, I need to darken it because the shadow is there. So I'm just going to follow the lines there, and what I'm using is the dodge and burn tool, and I'm burning it. Okay, that looks good. And even that little shadow there on the red inside the hat just makes, makes a difference. Right, so if you want to copy, I'm going to erase this because I'm not going to use it and I don't want it in it. But if you wanted to, you could just circle it, copy it, and then you can paste it throughout the image wherever you want it. If you wanted to have you just paste it in there if you wanted to use it as like a brush, and you could move it around and put it wherever you want. But I don't really want to use it, so I'm going to erase it. So I have put the layers together, and now I'm going to think I'm just going to brighten that up a little bit. So I'm using the fuzzy select here because I use that when there's a big difference between light and dark. So I use the fuzzy select, and I'm going to just now dodge it, make it even brighter, because I want to really make it stand out. And then I'm going to get the smudge tool, and I'm just going to erase. Just smudge it in, just smudge around. There you go. I just play around with it till it looks natural. I'm going to put a red flame coming out of that, or maybe red light. I'll put some smoke in it afterwards. I'm changing the angle. It's very small. I'll make it bigger. There you go. Too big. I've left the top of the hat in because I'm not too sure if I want to keep it or not. I'll see. I'll probably remove it, but so I'm just going to make the light shine out of the hat. I'm going to undo that now because I need to bring it down a bit. There we go, that's better. Okay. I'm just going to go over here to the right to my undo button, which is the yellow arrow pointing to the left, and I'm just undoing it a bit because I wasn't happy with the way it was too strong looking. Okay, and then I'm going to make it angle it to the side. Just want to get it right. Nope. That's better. And a little bit to the right. A little bit more. No, not happy with that. The undo button will be your best friend. Believe me. Okay. Yeah, that's good. So I'm zooming in and out just to see what it's looking like. Yeah, I'm gonna just darken the side here because the light's not shining so much. I'm just gonna darken anywhere where it's, the rest of her is dark. I'm gonna erase that because I don't like it. I'm gonna paint it black. Okay, now. Just coming out there, looking at it. Now what can I do now? Okay, it's looking good. I like the way the light is there shining. I just want to brighten up the red a bit, so I just clicked on the red square there and I'm bringing the saturation up. Yeah, that's good. So it won't affect any other colour. Now, if I bring the lightness up a bit, there we go. You can see it's affected the bottom there. It's kind of pixelated it where I had been smudging it, but that's okay. I like the way that works, and her left leg is still darker than her right. I just smudge that now and get rid of that pixelation of it. But as I said, I'm going to be putting a layer over it, so I'm not worried about it at all. Just to make it interesting, I'm going to put a big red hole here in front of her. There we go. I'm just angling it up to make it look 3D. I'm picking the colour from that red, that nice bright red, and I'm going to put it in. And then I'm picking the darker red, and I'm just going to play around with this for a little bit to try and make it look 3D. And to make the shadows, so just to give it a bit of depth. I'm just going to go a bit lighter there in the center. Here we go. Move it out a little bit. As I said, just play around until you're happy with it. I mean, you know, what I like, you mightn't like. So you just got to play around with it until you're happy. But I'm using the colours that are already in her dress, the light and the dark, and that makes it pretty cohesive. And that's what you want, you know, you want it all to blend together. Now I'm gonna make her look like she's hanging over the hole. And the shadows on the ground there under her legs, but I'll remove those later. So what I've done is I'm using the lasso and I'm just touching the points that I want. Okay, so I have actually made another, I need to make another layer because I want to rub out some of it. So I've just created another layer, and those lines that I made will just appear on that layer. So you can do it before or after. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to the select and see the very end down there, it says to path. So what I want is, I want to draw on the path, not on the whole selection or the inside of it or the outside of it. So I'm going to stroke the path, and I have it set up here, the line width is 6, and the colour is red. Now you can't really see that, it's too light. So I'm going to do it again. There you can see it. I'm just going to lighten it a bit because it's not shining through. Let's stroke it again. There we go. That's grand. Now, because I'm using the eraser tool here, because I'm on a transparent layer, so you can see through to her legs. There, I'm going to zoom in. All right, so I'm going to have to paint. I'm going to raise this here, and I'm going to paint in with the pencil. That's too fat, so I need to make it a bit thinner. Just erase that first. Okay, now I'm just going to paint in with the pencil the wire around her leg. Still too fat. Make it thinner. There we go. This undo is a bit crooked, it's not very neat looking. As I said, I could do it neater, and but this is just really to show you about the light, so I'm not all that fussed. Okay, let me just erase that. Okay, using my eraser just to get rid of that. Let's make it a bit bigger. Okay, I'm going to erase here because I need to make it go down and meet. I mean, if I was doing this properly now, I was doing it in such a rush, I would go in closer and I would have made it just go right down to the right spot. That'll do. Okay, so there she is. Okay, so I'm definitely going to have to erase those shadows underneath so it makes it look like she's hanging. I'm going to pick up the colour of the ground. I'm going to use, oops, I forgot to get rid of my layer, so I'm going to merge my layer mask down. So now I'm drawing on the image that I'm going to keep. There we go. As I said, it doesn't have to be too perfect, just the darkest spots, because I will be putting a layer over this. I'm just painting in around here where it was pixelated. Oh, there we go now. Right, so it's going to darken the left a bit. There we go. So I'm just putting a circle around here because I want to pull her dress down to make it look like it's just hanging down a bit more, so that is not on the ground, if you know what I mean. I'm just pulling it down more. It doesn't have to be much, just enough so that it doesn't look like she's sitting flat on the ground. There you go. So I use the distort tool for that. Okay, so I don't really like that white light that's there on the right. It just doesn't blend in terribly well at all. So I'm going to go to the light and shadow on the filters, and I'm going to change the colour to red, and I'm going to just pop it in there. I'm going to up the radius so it shines out, and the spokes. I'm not going to change the random hue because I want it to stay red. I don't really want the bright light, I just want the colour that it gives. Okay, let's get a nice red glow of it. But I'm going to go and clone that bright bit away because it's not really what I want. I don't like the intensity of the centre of it. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I'm just going to clone a little bit the stream of light up there. Okay, so I'm taking some of this red here now. I'm putting the opacity down and increasing just a plain brush, and I'm just going to brush the red on it a little bit more. So it looks like it's coming from a red light rather than a white one. That's good, I'm happy with that. Now I was going to put in white branches coming out of there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to put some red flame. I'm going to up the opacity. There you go. I'm going to put another one in. I'm just going to change the angle. Yeah, cool. And change the angle of that one. There you go. Lovely. I like that. Hothead. Let's put a little bit in there. A bit too much. Let's go back one. Yeah, perfect. So there it is. Now, I'm going to add in a background because it's a little bit plain, so I'll use this one. Okay, I'm just going to increase the height of it, and I'm going to increase the height, and then the width can go whatever it wants to, because I don't really want the tree to be slap bang in the middle, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, I'm just playing around now with the layers. I like multiply, so I'm going to move it over so the tree is not right in the middle of the image, just at the edge, so just to give a little bit of, you know, background there. Okay, it doesn't look right now, but don't worry, we'll sort that out. So on the layers here, you know, you can just play around with it and see what you like. I'm just going to bring the opacity down on the multiply mode. So I'm going to use the soft light and I'm going to add a layer mask. And I'm still using the same brush from the smoke, so I'm going to go and just find a brush. There you go. I need to change it to black. And bring down the size, bring up the opacity. Just a little bit over the edge there, because I want to still keep the shadow on the left. I'm just working on the right hand side of her dress again, and hat. Now I'm working on a mask that's on, remember the mask that's on the tree in the field. So I'm painting black on the white, so it's shining through. There we go. I'm quite happy with that. I like the tree there in the background. Gives a little bit of interest to it. So she looks like she's outdoors. So I'm going to merge all my layers together. And finished. There we go. I'm going to flatten the image before I export it. There we go, it's all flattened, and it only flattens layers that are visible. There we go. Just going to smudge that a little bit. Great, that's it. So that's how you do light. And I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you have fun making your own. Thanks.